Hello everyone. A couple of people have seen my video on RNG manipulating some Pokemon in the grass, where I proved that I did in fact not cheat. Thankfully, a lot of people seem to have responded very positively, and somebody asked me if I could also show how to do this for other Pokemon that are not in grass. So that is what we're doing today. I'm going to showcase the RNG manipulation for a static Pokemon. That is a Pokemon that you either obtain from talking to an NPC, a Pokemon that is that you get from the game corner. This is also applicable, at least I believe, to the starters. It's been a little bit since I've done the starters, but I believe the offsets were the same, and I believe it's also true for the legendary Pokemon. So, this includes roamers, by the way, though the roamers are a little bit more complicated, and I'll probably make a separate video on the roamers when I get far enough into the game. Specifically, the Pokemon that I'm going to be going for is going to be Kabuto. I've already done Ammonite and Aerodactyl on my FireRed save, so I already have those achievements, but today we're going to go with Kabuto. I've already given the fossil to the scientist here. I've walked out of the building, walked back into the building, as you normally would to get your Kabuto. So as soon as I talk to him, he will now give me a Kabuto. In fact, let's save the game for a second so we can show this. And then I will reset the game, because the odds of getting a shiny Kabuto right now is, it's a full odds. That would be very unlikely. Okay, I do actually have to do one thing real quick. I just noticed I did not open up a slot in my box. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to walk out for that. I thought maybe in the original, in Gen 1, you could actually use those PCs to access your box. I'm gonna have to deposit the coughing that I got during a stream yesterday. Anyway, so, we walk back in. If I now talk to this guy, I'm gonna save, making sure that I don't get it. He will give me a Kabuto, but as you can see, that is not a shiny Kabuto. We want a shiny. So, the first thing I'm gonna do here after walking in is I'm gonna get this NPC into, just ignore that, that's achievements I haven't gotten yet. I'm gonna try to push this NPC into a position where he can't walk. This is just to make my life a little bit easier. You don't actually have to do this, but it's kind of annoying when you talk to him to try and get your Kabuto and he decides to move out of the way. In this position, he won't move, so I can save the game here and we can do this. I'm going to be going for a similar strategy that I did yesterday. So, that is to say, I'm going to ask my chat which RNG seed they want me to go for. Chat, please give me a number rounded to 100, although you can give a specific number. Please give me a number between 35,000 and 40,000. I have not asked chat to do this before this moment. I am asking them to give me this number in the hopes of showing that this manipulation will work regardless of which value you go for. There are some lower values. I can't hit them reliably. I'm hearing 37,589. That's very close to the one we did yesterday, but I could go for it. 37,769. I think I'm going to go with that value. And I'm going to go for that value specifically because, as you can see, this is a first-time chatter. This is somebody who did not know that I was going to do this, presumably before the stream started. 37,769. So, I'm going to open up my program. I'm going to fill in that I'm going to go for a static. I'm going to go for a fossil in this case, and it will be Kabuto. I have to put in a seed here, as close as possible to the timer indicated by the user just now. Let me check what that was again. 37,769. So, 37,000. 37,589. 37,589. This is the closest I can find right now. 37,578. That is only 9 milliseconds off. Because they're rounded to the nearest 17, this would be either that same one or one off. I'm going to set the minimum advances between 900 and 2000. Lower than 900, I'm not guaranteed to hit, because there will be some text. It makes it a little too tight. Over 2000, I would need to wait too long. Like that. I've already put in the trainer ID and the secret ID. I'm going to set the shininess to shiny. And we're going to get some results. Let's see if we have any fun results. And once again, this thing now looks plus minus 20 seats. So either up to 340 milliseconds early or late. And I will try to go for one as close as possible to 37,769. 37,000. I think this is probably the closest. 769. We're gonna go for this seed, I think. This one is very early, but I should be able to hit that. 37,712. That is only a handful of frames off of the time given by the chatter just now. No one below, right? Wait, hold on. I'm confusing myself on the numbers. I mean the offset. Yeah, the offset is put the offset too close to there's one closer. Oh, there was one closer. Well, for the process, it doesn't really matter if, like, I'm looking in such a big range that it should be. There's a seed with 37712. 37712. Yeah, that's this one. That's the closest one, isn't it? Was that not the one I was saying? Either way, this is this 37712. I think that's the one we're gonna go for then. 3C22. So I'm gonna put that in here. 3C22. And I'm going to just so that's the one we have here. 3C22. And then the selection top, yeah, that's the one. Okay. Either way, you can see I've generated a list. I've gotten a few options here, and I'm gonna make some notes here, just like I've done in previous stream. The seat I'm gonna go for, as we just said, is 3C22. Seed 3C22. The timer for that one. I'll move the chat out of the way for just a moment, so that I can write down the timers. The timer is at 37712 milliseconds. That's the closest one we got, with an advances of 937. The offset of the first timer is still negative 633 milliseconds. This is true for every single manip in the game. That has everything to do with the fact that the offset is just for generating the seed. Therefore, it does not make a difference if I use it for a static encounter, a grass encounter. It is the same as I did in my other video. The other offset is a little bit different, however. Because this is a gift Pokemon or a static Pokemon, the second one, also I just noticed it's not negative 633, it's positive 633. The second timer, after the advances offset is plus 102 advances. The other one, it was an offset of negative 156. This time it is plus 102. That's what we're going to do. Cat back up. Go. So, now I'm going to grab my calculator. Here's my calculator. And I'm going to just put those numbers in. So, for the first one, 37712 plus 633, we get to this value, which I will now put in Eon timer of 38,345. The advances, 937, we're going to add 102, which gets me 1,039 advances. These numbers could still be a little bit off, but I should be in a very small range at this point. So I'm going to keep these. And I'm going to set my parameters for looking in the database later to right around, let's say, start with an 8 seed difference, which narrows it down to 8 seats in either direction. And this is 937, so I think I will set the search between 900 and 1,000. This is a pretty small range, but it still gives me a lot of options to look for when we get our first With all that out of the way, it is now time to try and get our shiny starter, or shiny Kabuto for the first time. So I will now start the timer, and we are going to start this process. I am not expecting to hit this first try. I am hoping to be close, however. Just like with the other manip, the method is much the same, except where in grass I used Sweet Scent, now it is a text box that I need to mash away. So, I'm going to let this timer run. When it hits 0, I'm going to hold a press and hold, don't release. Hit. We're going to continue. Smash through this. We do not care about the other achievements that I'm being notified of. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to redo this one a second time. I meshed one text box too far. I thought there was one more text box than there actually was. That's on me. So we'll just give it another shot. Every Pokemon has a different moment where you press A. There is a list on the... online, if you look for shiny RNG manip, FireRed, LeafGreen, you will find a guide which has a list of every single text box for each of the individual Pokemon. I don't have it up right now. But I'll try to remember to link it in the video description. The achievements you're seeing being primed and unprimed is just because I haven't gotten anything for them yet. Those are still very much locked. I wouldn't be able to get them right now. Alright. So, we got our Kabuto. This is our Kabuto. We're going to see if we can find this specific Kabuto around where we tried to go for. So, I'm going to set any shiny, because it is not a shiny, it is a gentle nature. Where's gentle? I must be blind. There's gentle. I'm going to now put in its level. It's a level 5. I'm gonna have to, just for a second real quick, because spacebar is my hotkey, I will copy the spacebar, a space there. Its stats are 18, 14, 13, 18, 14, 13. Wrong one. 11, 11, 10. 11, 11, 10. And that gets me exactly one result. Perfect. Now we can look, is this in the range that we want it to be? The first timer was 3 frames early. The second timer was 5 frames late. So effectively, the second, in total, that's only 2 frames late. That's great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the timer just a little bit. I'm going to set this offset just a little bit higher. I'm going to open up my TE on timer. And I think in my instance, I'm going to up it by 33 milliseconds. That's 2 frames. 45 plus 33 is 78. I'm going to also set the advances to 2 earlier. I'm going to update. And with this data, we are going to now give it another shot. I've only marginally adjusted the timer. I saw that the first clock, I hit it 50 milliseconds late. or sorry, 15 milliseconds too early. So I've set it 33 milliseconds later to get me closer to it. The other one I saw I was 5 frames late, but 3 of those frames were already from the fact that I hit the first one early. So effectively it was 2 frames later than that. So I've removed those 2 frames. So this should get us much closer to our to the Kabuto that we want to go for. We're gonna go load in the game again. Once again, I do not care about those. You'll see that every time I load up the save. There's something in the code that causes them to very briefly show and then immediately get removed again. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, we got a Kabuto here. It is not shiny. A calm nature Kabuto. Calm nature. 18, 11, 14. 18, 11, 14. 10, 11, 11. 10, 11, 11. So I've put in those numbers. We're going to look, and we get 3 options. Now, I don't think I hit this one. The last one is very unlikely that I hit it. The advances would be quite far off of the 37 that we're looking for. It's much more likely I probably hit the first one, but I might have hit the second one. Thankfully, we have a way to distinguish because they have different abilities. So is this the Swift Swim Pokemon? Is the Swift Swim Pokemon, so this is what I hit. 2 frames early on the first one, 4 frames late on the second one. I am going to make a very small adjustment then by removing 1 more frame from this one. Because I'm still hitting too late, even accounting for the difference. And I'm going to add another 17 to this. So I'm going to go to 95. And we're going to try again. And we are going to repeat this process like a couple more times, and then hopefully I have the calibration correct and we can start looking or start getting our shiny Kabuto. I hope this has at least shown how the manipulation on a static encounter, in this case Kabuto, is really not very different from the manipulation that we do on a non-static Pokemon, like a grass tile encounter. We're gonna load this in. We're gonna go talk to this guy. Once again, it's not shiny. We know that for a fact. It is a bold nature. We are going to select bold nature. By this point, by the way, I can change the seeds to, let's say, ±4. And I can change the advances to, let's say, 920 to 960. Make the range that we're looking for much smaller. It gives us fewer results, but it's all results we are pretty confident we wouldn't have. Our stats, 18, 11, 15, 18, 11, 15, 10, 10, 11, 10, 10, 11. We're gonna search and we find this one. I now hit it 1 frame late on the first one, 3 frames late on the second one. This is a male Kabuto with Swift Swim, just to confirm. It is a male Kabuto, it has Swift Swim. So I'm still hitting it late, that's interesting. I'm going to keep the first timer as is because I was only 1 frame late this time, and I'm going to once again reduce the second timer by 1 frame. By this point, the one that we just hit, we're starting to get into what you would expect to be the margin of error just from, human inputs. Starting to get into that margin of error, and that is good because it'll show hopefully that we can pretty reliably hit in that margin of error, and then hopefully, you know, after enough attempts, you will get the shiny Kabuto. First input. Now we're gonna go for the second input. And that's a shiny Kabuto. That concludes our hunt for the shiny Kabuto. It is the nature that we said at the start. It is the 33,712. It has all the stats. There we go. That is how you get a shiny static encounter. I hope this was informative. I hope you've learned something from this, and I hope it shows that, in fact, shiny hunting on a static really isn't all that different. The biggest difference being this offset being very different on a static Pokemon compared to a non-static Pokemon. I think that's where I'm going to leave this video for now. I will attempt to make a separate video at some point to show fishing encounters, to show roamer, to show Safari Zone encounters, but I think I'll do one at a time. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video as a little tutorial on how to get the shiny static. This works for all of the static Pokemon. I believe the offset is roughly the same for all of them. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I'll be happy to help.